Hello, Red Sox fans, and welcome back to another Talk Sox video. As of this recording, we are so close to October, and we are very close, if not already have surpassed what we need to make the playoffs, which is so exciting. We can ring the bell. It's been pretty much 4 years since the last time we made the playoffs, which is kind of crazy to say, but we have thoughts on it. As always, we are your spiritual guides when it comes to talking about the Red Sox. So I'm going to, as always, throw it over to my colleague over here, Brandon, get his thoughts on it. I'm going to talk about it. Then you guys are going to talk in the comments, and it's going to go crazy. So, Brandon, I'm going to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, at the time of this recording, the Red Sox have one more game against the Blue Jays, who they've beaten twice in this series already, which means that their magic number is now down to one. They have 4 games left to play. The Astros, I think, have 4 games left to play. So by the time you're watching this, the Red Sox may have already clinched. If they don't make the playoffs, feel free to blame me and Ethan for taking it as a guarantee. But yeah, it looks pretty much like a lock that they're going to win the second wild card in the American League, which means very much that they're either going to play the Blue Jays or the Yankees in the first round of the playoffs, which means they'll have to go on the road to play those teams, which has plenty of implications that we'll talk about in another video. But for now, this is really exciting. Like Ethan said, it's been 4 years since the Red Sox were last here. This might not be quite the same team, that it was 4 years ago when the Red Sox made a nice run to the ALCS. The path to another ALCS is going to be pretty tough, especially for a number 5 seed. But this is cause for celebration. This is what the team has been building towards. Even despite all the ups and downs, the Rafael Devers trade, a disappointing trade deadline, some injuries, like Roman Anthony's injury right now. Despite all of it, the Red Sox have been good enough. They've played strongly enough, and they're back in the postseason. And so, more than anything, obviously, again, we've talked about how this is a team built for the future, how this is a core that's meant to succeed down the road. But for sort of a first edition of this, current iteration of the team, this is a really strong effort, and I think people should be celebrating.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, like you said, this isn't the team that we had 4 years ago. In fact, it's very much
Yeah.
not the team that we had 4 years ago. We have a lot of young guys on our team. We have a lot of people on the IL, which is concerning. And hopefully, I mean, it doesn't look great, but I'll be an optimist and say maybe Roman Anthony will make it off the IL in time for some playoff games. But we can also be realistic and say that's not really, the most possible thing in the world. But to look on the bright side, we do have a very good core group of guys. We have Garrett Crochet, we have Alex Bregman, we have great outfielders and great defensemen. I'm not so doom and gloom about everything. Again, we weren't doing like amazing in the middle of the season. In the beginning, we were doing great, and then somehow the wheels just fell off the track. But again, we're kind of slowly creeping our way back up. And I think it's because of these younger players, again, the ones that aren't on the IL currently, finally starting to gel with the rest of the team. There are worries that you and I have, and again, we'll cover that in another video. But again, like we've said, this is a time for celebration. Again, knock on wood that we don't jinx it, and hopefully they just make it to the playoffs at this point. And something that you and I have talked about is also the front office, and what this looks like for them, preparing them for the playoffs, and what that'll also spell out for the future. You and I have talked about Alex Cora quite a bit. I just
Mhm.
quickly wanted to talk about him. Forgetting the Astros for a second, all of the drama that has followed Alex Cora, and we could talk about Craig Breslow too, and how he's been in the front office on a different team when they went to the World Series. But looking at Alex Cora for a sec, I can't think of another person in the dugout who would be a better person to have these guys be ready for playoff contention and playoff games. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's had his, like this team, he's had his ups and downs in Boston. There's been earlier in the year when there were some struggles, there were even some calls like for him to be fired. Obviously, that really wasn't going to be the case. He won the 2007 World Series as a player with the Red Sox. Obviously, like you mentioned, he had some success in Houston. Besides the extracurricular activities, they had a lot of success when he was on the coaching staff in Houston. So again, he's an experienced guy. He should be a good pilot for this team. In October baseball. Again, it's worth pointing out the Red Sox are going to go on the road against a divisional rival in the first round. That is a brutal, brutal draw. Even though they've had success, a lot of success against the Yankees and the Blue Jays this year. Again, I mean, that's just going to New York or going to Canada to have to play a division rival in a best of 3 series. that is not the most favorable draw for the playoffs. Again, for such a young team, for a team that has a lot of guys that haven't been in October or haven't been in October in a while, a lot of the responsibility is going to fall on guys like Alex Bregman, like Alex Cora, guys who have been here, guys who have, experienced the kind of success that this Red Sox team is hoping to achieve. And a lot of responsibility is going to fall on them to, hopefully guide them to the promised land. But, overall, I think, my final thoughts on this are just, again, there's more to do for this team. Again, making the playoffs is great. Getting some experience for these younger guys is an awesome thing. But this is a good team. Like this is a really good Red Sox team, and they're capable of making a pretty deep postseason run here, even if the actual scheduling of the teams they're going to face isn't the most favorable. So, again, Garrett Crochet is going to pitch in game one of the wild card round. That's a pretty favorable thing for the Red Sox. Maybe that means they win game one and then they only have to win one more to move on. But, again, it's one thing to make the playoffs. It's another thing to actually make noise when you get there. And I would love, even if they don't make it all the way to the World Series this year, just for the Red Sox to really put up a fight, for this not to just kind of be like a, hey, we made it, that was the goal. They kind of flame out early on. I'd really like to see them put up a bit of a fight, maybe make a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, I agree. Like we've said in past videos, you are only allowed so many mistakes when you're in the playoffs. There is very little margin for error. And again, I think that the Red Sox have had kind of a rough end of season run. Again, we've come back a little bit, but there is like I've said, there's very little margin for error. Hopefully, now that we're almost pretty much a week away from October at this point and so close to the playoffs, this is the time where we really buckle down and get things done. Again, if we go up against the Yankees or the Blue Jays for our first few games, it's not going to be easy going. And again, we'll go through that in another video, but for now, it's a time to celebrate. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. I would hope that you're very happy that of these results. If not, then what are you doing on this site? But as always, we'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below.